I'm Jen Scouler and you're watching The Fan Carpet. Tonight we're at the View in Dagenham for the world premiere of Hooligans at War, North vs South, to talk to Chris Bell and Stephen M. Smith, who wrote, directed and starred in the film.
I've acted for quite a long time, even as a child. My mum took me to London Palladium for an audition for Oliver Twist at the Palladium, so it's always something I wanted to do. I knew that if I'd have to do my own thing, make my own opportunities to write, do my own projects to do it. So it's always been a passion of mine. I've been doing it for quite a long time, but this is a big break.
Well, the reason I wanted to make films is because when I was very young, I saw Jaws and got terrified. And I thought, well, if I can get terrified, I'd like to be able to terrify people, but entertain people. And that's something. I was always a storyteller. I always had dreams about telling stories. So I had an 8mm film camera, and I used to make my own little four-minute films. So that's really why I got into filmmaking, because it's about entertaining people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of the British gangland films. There's quite a lot of them, and I kind of think recently, the past 10 years, we've gone off track with stuff, and we've just kind of got a genre, and we've just stuck to that genre, and we've forgotten about stories. Guy Ritchie came in, and he brought it back. He gave a good characters, good story, brought a bit of humour to it, and I wanted to do that basically. So we had a lot of humour in the film, banter and things that people can associate with, like characters and a good story.
This film, how it came about for me, is that Chris contacted me and said we've got an opportunity to get this film into the shops, properly released, and I said, well, what do you need? And he said, well, we've got £6 grand, make this movie to finish it off, and it needs some hooligan, something to balance up the hooligans, so an army thing. So I said, okay, let's go and do it, because my background is making micro-budget and low-budget movies, and I've made 4 other independent films, and so I just love making films, so I said, yeah, I'll help out.
Yeah, my character is called Chris. He grew up in South London with his best friend Johnny, played by Alan Lund. And they kind of go off the rails and they join the British Army and they get sent out to fight in Bosnia. And when they come back from Bosnia, there's nothing for them other than to go down the gang route. And they become gang bosses in South London. And they end up fighting East London. They're like rivals. And the only thing that can tear the two friends apart is money. And they do this big armed robbery and it all goes wrong. And without giving the story away, me and Johnny are no longer friends, and the whole of London is at war. And we've got to get the money back and not get killed, basically.
It was all good fun, but it was just good to do it with Chris. We go back. Yeah, it's got to be at least 26, 27 years, so it was just great to help Chris out, and we have had just a blast, so yeah, that's enough for me. I think it was brilliant.
Well, in the film I'm Chris's mum, and I'm Chris's mum in real life as well. My husband is in prison. He's a bit of a hard nut, not a very nice person really. And basically I just try to look after Chris in the film and feed him and just generally watch out for him and give him a little bit of parental guidance.
I think a memorable moment when I did the war stuff for Bosnia, it was filmed out in a studio in Essex, and I wanted to get into the zone, so the only way to do that would be to stay on the set overnight. So a couple of us actually camped out on the Bosnia set, and it was absolutely freezing. There was frost on the end of our beds, no hot water. It was absolutely freezing, and we had good fun. There was a good lot of friendship there, you know.
I think the explosions, and just not realising how loud they'll be and how much dust comes down on you 30 seconds after it comes out of the stratosphere and hits you, and you're like, oh boy. So yeah, that kind of thing. And I think giving Chris an opportunity, because the way I work as a director is I like to say, get some actors in front of the camera and roll with multiple cameras, a bit like Mike Lee does, and get them to just do a scene. So that way they have the ability to tell a story, and that's what I did. and it comes across really well in the film. There's a couple of scenes like that kind of break up the action and the madness.
I think when we went back to sort of the 70s or 80s, when we were sort of dishing up a meal, one of the meals there, with savoury pancakes and chips and things like that. 'Cause I actually love cooking, and in the film I'm not a cook at all, so it's a bit slapdash with it all.
The whole thing was fun, to be fair. Everything was fun. I don't think we had a bad day on set. Sometimes it was a bit tough, and it did drain us, long hours, but yeah, we just got through it.
Any plans?
I've got another 2 films coming out this year, so I've done like a thriller horror and another gangster film that's out later this year. But one thing that I'm writing at the minute is a comedy, and I'm very much a jokey person, which isn't shown in my films, and I don't want to get my agents here somewhere, and she's nagging at me not to do too many gangster films or baddie films. You'll see when the horror's released, I'm actually a really horrible person in that, really nasty, and I really want to get cracking with this comedy that I'm writing. So that's the thing, comedy.
I'm doing a film called The Haunting of Borley Rectory with John Hanna and Julian Sands, which I'm producing and I've written. We start shooting June the 22nd, and Carnaby are doing sales on that. That's what's next for me, and then after that I've also got 3 or 4 other films that are coming up which are smaller budget.
There were arguments in the film, but not with us.
No, it's very easy.
It's a mate's
You say jump in it, and that's how I.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'd love to be able to do everything, but I think you, as a person, your life evolves and you end up looking at you to take stock of your life and then thinking, right, this is the right time to do this sort of film. So I have 20, 30 projects on the go at the same time.
Tom Hardy, I think the guy is an absolute legend. He is the actor of actors. He's a British actor. He's fantastic. He's gone to Hollywood. He's nailed it. An absolute inspiration. Gary Oldman, again, which is fantastic because Tom Hardy looks up to Gary Oldman. So it's kind of a chain reaction. And Gary Oldman trained in Sidcup, which is not far from where I did my acting school, drama school. So yeah, I learn so much from watching other actors performing. It's easy to go to drama school and listen and do your thing, but for me, I'm always learning. I watch TV, I'm learning. I'll pick up a book, I'm reading, I'm learning. It's, for me, I can relate to Tom Hardy. I think he's absolutely fantastic, whatever character he plays.
Probably the first day. Because I've never seen anything like it. So just turning up and just all the nerves kicking, and you have no idea what you're going to look like on camera, and that's probably the most memorable day. And after the first day, it was a bit easier, but Chris just sort of guided me through everything.
I mean, I obviously my wife just inspires me because she's always there for me. 20 years we've been together, but I mean, in the film industry, I think people like John Carpenter and Spielberg, they're people who are kind of groundbreaking. Some of their films are groundbreaking. Nowadays, a lot of people rely on post-production to make films, and I think it's about filling the lens and having a vision that you can carry forward and then not have to worry about post-production. People don't do that nowadays. They'll just take a load of footage and then piece it all together with CGI. I'm old-fashioned, I'm old school, and I think it still reflects the way I make films.
I've learnt more doing my own thing than I ever did at drama school. I've learnt more watching films. As a filmmaker, I'm able to watch a film now and realise the angles, what's going on behind the camera, why they're doing that, and it's fantastic. It's a whole new wavelength of watching films once you know what goes into it and the work. This took 5 years to make this film. 5 years is a long time. We've just kicked out a new film that took a month. So it's either a long process or a really quick, intense process. We didn't have a day off. We worked on a month's set. We wrapped 2 weeks ago, and we were working every day for a month. Very hard work, very demanding, stunt-wise, very hard. So yeah, you're in for a treat with that one. It's off the scale, that one.
Yes, I'm hoping to do some acting next year. Yes, but I'm retiring from my job, my day job, so I'm hoping to sort of pursue more of a career in acting then.
Of course I will. I'm only joking. I'd always do it for Chris. He's just really good fun. It really is.
Thanks for watching The Fan Carpet. That's all from us. I'm Jen Scouler, and remember to follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and we'll have more for you next time.